Chef Daniella Malfitano. I'll take you from the crop to the kitchen to highlight the local farms, ranches, vineyards, orchards, markets, and more right in your backyard. Join me as I uncover the delicious discoveries of your culinary community.
Hello and welcome to Delicious Discoveries. I'm your host, Daniella Malfitano, and today we're here in Oroville at Chaffin Family Orchards. We're joined by Chris Kirsten. How are you, Chris?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having us. You know, I visited many farms this year, but none quite as big as 2,000 acres.
Yeah, we've got a lot to show you.
I'm really excited to see it, but before we get started, I hear there's some very interesting history behind the farm and how it got started. Tell me a little bit about that.
The farm was started 100 years ago. Before that, it was a sheep ranch, and then in 1913, UC Berkeley came in and they started running the first large-scale commercial olive operation here. They wanted to do trials on mission olives, which came right off the California missions, and they brought those cultivars here, established them, put in 600 acres of orchards, and their farm manager was Del Chaffin. He stayed on the operation until about the Depression hit. When the Depression hit, he had saved all of his money, pretty much under a mattress. He lived here with room and board, didn't have a whole lot of expenses, and all the professors wanted to get out of the job at that point. They no longer wanted to do the research, and they wanted to go back to Berkeley and kind of be with their families and weather the storm. And so he took his money and he bought all this property for pennies on the dollar. He fell in love with this property because the microclimate, because of the uniqueness of the soil. And so 100 years later, 5 generations later, it's still in the same family. So it's got a really unique history, and it's a unique part of California's culture.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Great, let's get to seeing everything that this farm has to offer.
Let's go do it.
All right.
So we're on top of Table Mountain right now, which is all solid lava rock, 1,000 feet in the air. And the front of that mountain faces west, and the farm beyond that is in front of that. So every night as the sun sets, it heats the face of that mountain, and the mountain reflects that heat energy back into the orchard. What's not reflected is absorbed in the lava rock of the mountain. And so as nightfall comes, that heat is trickled down into the orchard. But at the same time, we also have a banana belt effect. So cold air is dense, it settles down, and it flows downhill like water. So as the cold air comes off the mountains in the wintertime and it rolls downhill, it displaces itself with a draft of warmer air. And so in addition to the mountain adding that kind of microclimate there of that additional heat energy, we also have that banana belt effect going on. And so because of that, we're able to grow things 365 days a year and have incredible frost protection here.
You also pride yourself on being a permaculture-based family farm. What exactly does that mean?
So permaculture and its basic ideals means that there's no annual planting. So everything that you see on the farm is a perennial-based system. So the cows have calves every year. Those calves grow up and become part of our meat program, but the mother cow herd is still here year after year. The trees are here year after year. So we don't have any annual plantings to go in like you would on a tomato farm or a melon farm or something like that. So it's a different style of farming. Permaculture also utilizes waste streams. So where fruit that is unused or maybe had some blemishes is going to fall in the orchards, I've got livestock below there that are going to eat that and turn that into value-added fertilizer with enzymes from their gut and additional bacteria to help get the soil alive. In the summertime, again, you know, we don't get rain here in California and in the summertime, and so we have to put irrigation out. When we irrigate the orchards, we grow a lot of grass as a waste. So instead of coming in with mechanics and mowing that down or spraying it with herbicide or something like that, we bring the livestock in and they accomplish those goals for us. So the sheep and the cows do all of our mowing. The goats, they prune all the lower sucker branches. They clear out all our invasive weeds. Goats love things like Himalayan blackberry, wild grape, poison oak, star thistle. And the chickens come in and they debug and fertilize.
So you actually raise your chickens and your sheep and your goat very humanely, and they're very well fed. Talk to me a little bit about what they eat and their daily life, how important it is and how comfortable they are.
So we raise everything on pasture. We want everything to be out in as native and as wild a setting as possible. And so these chickens all day long get to graze the grass, eat the bugs, drink the fresh water. And what they do for us is they eat the bugs that would ending up in the trees. They take that bug protein and they turn it into eggs. So we get a value-added product to sell. What they don't utilize for the eggs, they put back out in the field as fertilizer.
Wow.
So they take a problem and they turn it into 2 solutions. Something for the farm to sell and then an input that the farm doesn't have to buy. So it's a really closed loop system.
That is awesome. And then you have these wonderful Egg mobiles.
Egg mobiles.
Mobiles.
So it's a coop on wheels. Can go anywhere
A coop on wheels.
Go anywhere on the farm.
Awesome.
Fully contained with everything they need. So this is chicken housing at its finest. It's got roost space inside, and then 4 banks of nest boxes. And so every day the girls go in at night, and they come back out in the morning, and they can forage and go after the food that they want, and then at night come back in for shelter. Throughout the day they take turns laying eggs here in these nest boxes, which we can look at here. So the girls come in here, here's one right here right now, and then they're going after these eggs. They lay these eggs every day in here, and then every afternoon we come and collect the eggs and package them and have them for sale.
And a chicken will lay 1 egg per day.
1 egg per day, yeah.
Cool. And you can feel that they're still sort of
They're still warm coming out of her body, yeah.
That is neat. I've never seen a fresh egg this fresh. This is really beautiful. And the color of the shell will just depend on the hen itself, right?
It's just the breed. Yeah, a lot of people get confused and think it's diet.
Right.
It's actually just the breed. And so because people want brown laying egg hens because it's quaint, we get brown egg laying breeds. But you could certainly raise white egg layers in just a system and they would be just as delicious and fantastic.
So the grass-fed cattle is really handled with care, right?
Absolutely.
And it's all about timing.
Yeah. So when you switch away from a confinement system where cattle are fed corn in a feedlot and you get back to a free-range grass-fed system, the predecessor to that whole system is grass. And so we really think of ourselves as grass farmers first, livestock farmers secondary. And so in this part of the world, in this California Mediterranean climate where we don't get rain in the wintertime, in the summertime, what we do here is we harvest our beef in the springtime. So they raise for about 2 years, and then at the end of that 2 years, they get that spring flush of growth right before we harvest them. They put on all that internal fat and marbling, and then we send them off to our butcher, and we are done for the year. So we only harvest the cattle the one time of the year.
And you are one of the only beef producers that produces dry-aged beef.
Dry-aged beef, yeah. It's an old-fashioned process. If you talk to anybody 100 years ago, it would have been the standard process to tenderize and flavorize beef. In essence, what you do is you take the entire carcass, you hang it on the rail in a cooler that's about 34 or 35 degrees, so just above freezing. You put some fans in there to keep air moving around, and then the natural enzymes in the beef start breaking it down, and they basically massage that muscle down to a tender steak. Some water evaporates, so you don't have as much blood and water in the package, and then when you eat it, it's an entirely different experience. It just melts in your mouth steak.
So we're moving on now to the oldest inhabitants of the land, the sheep. So tell me about what you guys do with them here, as I feed some with these delicious plums.
Yes, so before this land was owned by UC Berkeley and they started the farm, this was a sheep farm back in the 1800s. And so for about 50 years before that, it was in sheep. And so you're right, these are the kind of first inhabitants of Chaffin Orchards, and they've been here that whole 150 years. Yeah, so kind of cool. Those were always meat sheep, and about 10 years ago we decided the meat sheep just weren't making a profit anymore. Farming's a challenge, and it just that wasn't working out for us. And so we made some changes. We got rid of the meat sheep, and my farming partners, their 10-year-old son, came to us and said, "I'd like to do wool sheep." And we thought, okay, well that's kind of interesting. He could do it as a 4-H project. He started with 6, and we now have over 30. And we're building the flock slowly. We've had them for about 5 or 6 years now, but they've been a real joy. Just like the cows graze under the orchards, these guys come and graze the orchards as well. They work splendidly for mowing, for cleaning up this vegetation, making it nice and tight so we can get ladders and equipment in and things like that. But they do it a little bit differently than cows do. They eat different species. They actually favor broadleaves, so different types of grasses that the cows might leave behind. So they kind of fit into the cycle symbiotically in another way, and we were missing not having them here. Sheep are really kind of a joy to have around. They're really pleasant creatures, as you can see, as they want to come and be pet and loved on. And then we once a year, we shear them. We take this entire coat off every February. Clean out the entire fleece and have it spun for yarn, and then we sell the yarn. This is an old Icelandic breed, and they work great in the orchards because they're such small frames, and so they can go right under the canopy of the trees here, not do any damage, not bark up the trees, and really just go after the grass and be quite happy to enjoy the shade and any fruit that's wasted now is now enjoyed by them, which lowers our feed bill and takes away another crop that you know, if you can't utilize all 100%, you don't want to have a waste stream. So now these guys eat that down fruit. So they're a nice addition to the farm.
Chris, tell me what you use these goat for. Do you use them for meat?
Yeah, so these are all meat goats, but we use them for multiple purposes here on the farm. They actually go and they clean out all of our invasive weeds in the orchards, and they can also work riparian areas like here behind us very sensitively. So they're really gentle on the environment, and the fact that we move them about every 48 hours, we're able to get the controlled, she loves you, we're able to get the controlled grazing impact that we want, take out all the invasive weeds. A goat's favorite foods are, you know, all the weeds, so Himalayan blackberry, wild grape, poison oak. All the things that are a challenge for farmers is the favorite thing they like to eat. So just like on chickens we get eggs from the bugs that they eat, on these guys we get meat from the weeds that they eat.
So one of the most impressive things about Chaffin Family Farms is that you grow fruit 365 days a year, right?
Every day of the year we're picking fruit.
So what fruit are we talking right now? What's in season?
Right now we're just coming out of apricots and we've moved into peaches.
Peaches, these beautiful bad boys.
These beautiful bad boys here, yeah. These orchards are 50 years old, so we've got lots of old heirloom variety of peaches,
Nice.
Pulling from a palette of flavor from yesterday that you can't get anymore. These varieties do not ship well. They were made for a local market, but they're loaded with flavor. So
Cool.
kind of cool, yeah.
Let's pick one. And I want to talk to you about cold storage.
Okay.
And you do not put this beautiful fruit in cold storage. What's the benefit of that?
So none of the fruit that we grow ever goes into cold storage. When you put fruit into cold storage, for sure, you increase the shelf life, but you always lose some flavor compounds. And so because these guys are designed for a fresh local market, we go right from the trees to the market the very same day. So when you buy a peach from us, you're getting fruit that was picked that morning, the freshest it can be, and that's when you're gonna get the most amount of flavor.
And let's talk about how you know when this is, you know, ready to harvest.
Right.
What is Brix exactly? Let's go into that.
So these guys are about 2 weeks away from ripe, but what we do is as we're checking progress, we'll feel for texture and see how this guy's starting to get a little bit soft. This variety here is the heirloom Fay Alberta, which is tons and tons of flavor.
Which is a rare variety, right?
Yes, very rare.
It is known to be endangered at this point.
That's right. It's on Slow Food's Arc of Taste as something that needs to be watched and preserved because commercial growers aren't growing these anymore because they don't ship, but they're really, really tasty. So then what we'll do is we'll take our refractometer, flip this guy down, squeeze a little juice on here, get a little juice on that lens, flip the lens cap down, and then we'll look in here and see what our sugar level is.
And
so this is low right now because they're not ripe yet, but Brix is your soluble sugars. And so we can actually measure that just by, the sugar water refracts light differently than straight water would. And so you can measure that here with this angled lens and actually measure that sugar that's in there.
Here at the farm, it really does stay within the family. This is Joshua Albright. How are you, Josh?
Good.
So talk to me about your role on the farm, what you do here. I hear it's a very important one.
I raise chickens and sell them. I raise turkeys, guineas, ducks, and chickens.
And what is this breed here that you have in your hand?
Nankin. This is a Nankin Bantam Pullet. There's less than 250 of these in the world.
Wow, is that right? And their eggs that they lay are, the ones here in my hand, they're pretty small. This is as big as they get, right?
Yes.
And why are these special? Do they have a different flavor than a normal egg?
They don't.
The size is just different.
So these birds were actually the first heritage breed to ever be imported from here into America from England.
From England. Wow.
They were imported for sitting on large fowl eggs, even though they're only this big.
Fascinating stuff, Josh. You are very knowledgeable. Thanks so much for your time.
Okay.
Thanks so much for having us here today, Chris. It was such an educational tour.
It was a pleasure, absolutely.
So tell us, where can people buy your products if they want to purchase some of Chaffin Family Farms?
So we've got a little farm stand here on the property, open 365 days a year on a self-serve basis. Just right there in the fruit shed, you can go in, get what you need, put your money in the safe. That's open during daylight hours all year round. People come on Christmas Day. That's always available. We also sell at the Chico Certified Farmers Market. We've been there for 30 years, so almost founding members. I think we came in 2 years after it started. We sell there. We also sell at the Nevada City Farmers Market in the summer times. We do the Paradise and the Chico Wednesday Farmers farmers market. And then we have buying clubs all over California. We've got one in Southern California, we've got a few in the Bay Area, one in Sacramento, and Truckee and Tahoe.
Wow.
So, and then you can go to our website, and if you're not in one of those areas, you can order off our website as well.
Great. Well, you guys not only do it all, but you are everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to get back into the kitchen right now and cook something up with some of the delights of the farm.
Sounds delicious.
So what I'm gonna make today for you is a classic all-American steak and eggs. And this is a New York strip that we got from Chaffin that is delicious and all ready to go. They've done the work for me. They've cleaned it up really nice. And I wanna make this dish for you today so that you can become accustomed to what dry aged beef really tastes like. Essentially, all dry aged beef is meat that's been hung for several days to dry out. And as the moisture dries out of the beef, you get a really nice concentrated beef flavor. And not only does that happen, but you also, what happens is the natural enzymes of the beef are broken down and the beef is very, very tender. So let's get started. I'm going to season my New York strip with a little salt and pepper on both sides. Okay, season it up with a little kosher salt. It's a lot of meat, so don't be afraid. We want a liberal amount here. And pepper. One of my old chefs once taught me that the best way to season a piece of beef, or protein for that matter, is to take your salt and bring it really high up and then sprinkle it because you get a larger surface area. I haven't missed a spot. That's exactly how we want to do it. Okay, I have my cast iron grill pan heating up right here. And I'm gonna wait before I put any protein for this to get really, really smoking hot. Okay, we're ready to sear this beef. This cast iron grill pan is smoky. So that's what we want to see before we add any protein to it. Looks good. I'm gonna place it on the grill grates and I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna leave it undisturbed for about 4 to 5 minutes. And then I'll rotate it 45 degrees, flip it on the other side and do it all over again. Okay, I'm gonna turn my steak 45 degrees and sear it for another 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, this is ready to flip. Oh, that's beautiful. So again, 5 minutes, turn it, another 5 minutes. We'll let this rest for about 10 minutes while we prepare the eggs for our steak and eggs. Okay, this steak is done. It's about medium rare. I'm gonna put this on a plate and just put it on the side and let this rest for minimum 10 minutes. And as it rests, this will continue to cook and bring us down to closer to a medium. This looks perfect though. I know it's good inside because it's starting to develop juiciness on the top and the bottom. This is gonna be killer. So let's make our eggs next. Okay, so I'm gonna make our 2 over easy eggs. These are farm fresh eggs from Chaffin. They're super golden yellow yolk inside. They're delicious. This is what they look like when you get them from the farmer's market. I can't wait to taste them. I got to see a lot of them raw on the orchard, but I'm really excited to cook them right now. So what you'll need in a nonstick skillet, a couple tablespoons of butter. I'm going to crack the eggs into a bowl before I add them to the nonstick pan. And I do that because I want to make sure I'm not going to get any broken shell bits in the pan when we start cooking. Look at how yellow these yolks are. Just beautiful. Want to melt my butter until it's nice and foamy. That looks great. Okay. I'm gonna add the eggs right to the nonstick pan. Just let them cook away. Season it up with some salt, some freshly ground black pepper on both sides. These are starting to bubble away. They're all almost nice and completely white. I'm gonna flip these, but I wanna make sure they're ready to flip. So if I can move these eggs around the pan, they're definitely ready to flip, okay? So I'm gonna bring them to the front of my pan and just give them a nice flip with your wrist. Perfect. I haven't broken the yolks, and I'm gonna go ahead and season this up with salt and pepper. Okay, I'm gonna turn the flame off the eggs. These are ready. It's been about 10 minutes. The steak's already on the plate. I'm gonna add my over easies. Yum. I'm gonna take some butter. This is totally optional. And I'm gonna serve it with some toast. Yum. What a delicious all-American breakfast or brunch. Looks great. Well, I think this one speaks for itself. Looks delicious. I have to get in and try a little taste. Whoa. Right to the center. That is perfect. Oh my gosh. I mean it. Wow. That's very, very good. I taste livestock and cow. It's delicious. It's so good. It's so tender. I've really seasoned it well. I'm gonna try it with a little farm fresh egg here. That's so good. Look at that yolk. Myself a good bite. Wow. The eggs are incredible. I have not, it's been a very long time since I've tasted a yolk that was so flavorful. Oh, what a treat. Well, we had a great time at Chaffin Orchards. This is a wonderful meal. I'm gonna continue to eat, and I hope you'll join me next time for another delicious discovery. Hello, and welcome to Delicious Discoveries. I'm your host, Daniella Malfitano, and today we're in Oroville, visiting Chaffin. Hello, and welcome. What's the name of the show? Oh, sorry. Okay, we're ready to sear this beef. Hold on, I gotta get that lap out.
No.
I smell it. Look at my t-shirt.
No.
No?
No.
What do I smell?
Just goat.
Very nice to meet you, birdie.
Delicious Discoveries with Daniella Malfitano is made possible by Angelina Rose Productions, with special thanks to Mooney Farms.